2 back-to-back losses at the hands of Retribution. We're going to answer the question on today's show. What is next for Xavier Woods? Stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo, what is good, people? This is your boy, Dazzle, alongside my friend Mex on WrstlXtra. You are watching on the WrestleManiac YouTube channel and also listening on affinityextra.com. Folks, yeah, man, we're here. It feels nice. It's been a while. Well, it's only been a week, but it feels like it's been a while. I've had a busy weekend. That's probably why. And but I feel energized, I feel new, I feel fresh. The bald head's come back. I don't know why, because I'm freezing. But let's go with it. Mex, what is going on?
Yeah, man. We had a pretty decent week for some passes, maybe a bit quiet on the AEW front, but definitely a lot of movement on Impact and WWE in the last couple of days as well. So can't wait to jump into all of it.
Yes. So you kicked off in the introduction with the question, what is next for Xavier Woods? What is going on? 2 weeks in a row, losses to Retribution. It's like Ricochet all over again. Will we see some rumors about Xavier Woods' contract ending? Anyway, how are you seeing it, bro? With Kofi Kingston now as well, injured. And it's interesting, the story that's happening at the moment with Xavier Woods. How are you seeing it? What is going on?
I don't know if they're using, while Xavier's on his own, and Xavier is not someone that particularly could be hurt by losses, if you see what I mean. Maybe they're using him just while he has nothing to do to kind of put over Retribution, make Retribution look strong. And he has lost to the 2 biggest guys in Retribution. He hasn't lost to Slapjack or someone like that. So and obviously in the background, it looks like they are building something between Mustafa Ali and Kofi Kingston upon Kofi Kingston's possible return. But Xavier Woods, you would think this is a time to maybe do something with him in a solo capacity, but I just don't know. It's not really clear. What do you think?
It's interesting because of, as you mentioned, the backstory with Mustafa Ali's kind of getting, retribution. But he used that word himself as well, against Kofi Kingston, who he still kind of blames for his whole, he didn't get that WrestleMania opportunity and all the rest of it, which is nice, which is a nice thing to hold on to and stuff like that. It helps the story, makes sense of, Xavier Woods being beaten up and stuff like that. So that is good. But for me, what was interesting also is, I think over the weekend, or just towards the end of last week, WWE announced the next 3 dates for WrestleMania, the next 3 years of WrestleMania.
Yes. With,
that kind of like news type skit, which fairly entertaining, it was good. But I don't know if anyone else saw, but Xavier Woods did his own one. So he did one where he interrupted Triple H and Stephanie and did his own little thing. And as we know, he said it so often and he wants to bring it back so bad. He announced a King of the Ring tournament. Towards the end of it, he kind of did the whole, what do you mean? There's no date set and da-da-da-da. So obviously, he's playing on it. But I'm wondering whether they're going to do something with that. I'm wondering whether in some capacity they're going to put together King of the Ring and just have Xavier win because, at the end of the day, he deserves it. He needs it. That singles run, I posted something just last week about him being as popular as he is outside of WWE as well in the gaming world and how, that hasn't necessarily really, translated in a singles run for Xavier Woods, which people are waiting for. And, WWE even posted how he's top of the most the favorite list on their Fox Sports app.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, so are you telling us all this information just to tell us all this information, or are we going somewhere with it?
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, it's kind of like, let's do something, because the people want it. The people will be happy to see it. Xavier Woods is over. Like, there's no more excuses that I'd needed. Let's just do something with this guy, because he can make it work. It's kind of almost similar to when Jonathan Gresham won the ROH Pure tournament. He was the one promoting the whole thing from start to finish and all the rest of it. He won it, and no one was upset.
It's true.
Nobody was upset. I think a very similar thing probably needs to happen with Xavier Woods and the King of the Ring tournament as well. Yeah. That's how I'm seeing it.
No, I agree. Quickly, big up everyone that's watching live, everyone that's going to rewatch this, everyone listening on Affinity Extra. Xavier Woods, I think, definitely should get the King of the Ring. There's a point, I think 2016 or so, where they were on SmackDown, and I think Xavier Woods was entered into a US Championship tournament or something like that, US title. Yeah. And I thought, wouldn't it be historic if he won that and like they kind of freebirded it amongst themselves in New Day? Never happened. I think he does need something, just because obviously the great service he's offered WWE in the ring, outside the ring. I think the King of the Ring gimmick has expired on Corbin, especially, and I think when I look at the roster, Xavier Woods is someone that could definitely keep that kind of gimmick fresh. Very creative guy. And can just keep it interesting, not necessarily go down the same old boring road of just being the king and all the kind of king puns that come with it. So I think, this is something he's been lobbying for quite a while. And like you said, he deserves it. And yeah, I would like to see it at this point.
I saw a question asked, because obviously most of the time when we see someone become King of the Ring, they usually turn heel, if they're not already.
Yeah.
Almost always turn heel if they're not already. So I saw a question asked, Xavier Woods as a heel King of the Ring. And I thought, you know what? Nah, he could make it work as a face. Like, he'd be more of a jester than a king. You know what I mean? And I think that would work massively for him. Yeah. He would make it work all day long. He'd play on the whole king thing, turn it into a madness. And, as we know him to be already, he's heavily, heavily entertaining.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, whether you see it or not, he is the New Day. The whole thing was his idea. The whole brains of everything that's happened with them has been him. I think it's just correct. So as much as I'm a massive fan of Big E, and I think Big E should be pushed to the stars, I still think that there's a level of, something that there's more that he deserves, basically. Yeah. Simple as that.
Shantice up in the chat. I would love it, but we know it's going to be King Riddle or something like that. They do like they like themselves some Matt Riddle.
I don't want no King Bronuts. No. No King Bronuts. Bronuts king size. No thanks. No. That's wrong.
Don't put ideas in their heads, man.
They're watching as well.
Yeah,
they probably
will know that.
Sorry, my bad. But here's the other thing. Here's the other twist on that same thing that we're talking about with Xavier Woods and Retribution specifically. I want to give a bit of a shout out to Mace, because Mace has now beaten Ricochet and Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
And no one ain't talking about that.
Yeah.
And he's done it clean. Ricochet, kind of not so much, but yesterday against Woods was clean.
There's an aspect of obviously them being heels, so obviously they surround the ring, cause the distraction, and then he picks up the win. So yeah.
So man, shout out to Mace. I want to see where that goes. And a massive shout out to Mustafa Ali, because mate, that guy is an absolute star. That promo that he did on Kofi and Woods is just.
Have you seen Kofi's bit back now?
Yeah, I have. I saw that earlier today. Which is good. Of course, he's, we know Kofi has stepped up his game quite a bit more with his promos and stuff. So I'm liking this undertone storyline.
Listen, I wouldn't mind a WrestleMania match between those two. Just no belts, no nothing. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm now wondering, because we don't necessarily know how long Kofi's going to be out for. I'm wondering how long this is gonna, how long they can make it last. Can they make it last the whole time Kofi's out? Will he be out for a very long time? Will he be out for a short time? But I think getting to WrestleMania is possible, actually. It's possible. Yeah. There's not too many weeks left. And things can happen in between that as well, but I think that would work.
Judging by obviously the jaw injury that Finn Balor had in NXT some months back, and he's just kind of come back. Finn Balor was out for about 8 to 12 weeks, 8-ish weeks. So
yeah.
And I think he can make
relinquish the title lever, so that should be
And I don't think Kofi's is as bad as Balor's. Balor had to get plates in his jaw, so yeah.
And I think Kofi's just resting. He's still chatting. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he's okay. But yeah, I'm expecting probably he may miss Royal Rumble. More than likely will miss Royal Rumble. Maybe mid-Feb. That's enough. That's enough weeks for him to come back. So yeah, should be interesting. Should be very, very interesting. The other thing that we saw, keeping kind of on the New Day, I'm trying with the segues here, trying. This one's like needle and a thread. So we saw Big E. There's a segue. We saw Big E lounging on the couch next to the commentary table as Apollo Crews faced Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Now, the big thing that we want to talk about is Apollo Crews. You tell me exactly what happened. Apollo Crews had a meeting with a certain guy, a certain head of the table. You tell me.
Well, the week before, for those that saw it, Apollo Crews was obviously on Talking Smack, where again Paul Heyman fired him up like the same way he fired up Big E a couple of weeks before that. Told him, you have to go after Big E. Don't come back here unless you come with that Intercontinental title. Then on Raw, we see, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, in his lounge to open the show. Later on in the show, he's had a kind of a back and forth with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman's coming back to return the contract to Roman Reigns. When all of a sudden, we see Roman Reigns dropping some knowledge on Apollo Crews. Let me do it. You see this?
Yeah.
It's all about control. All right. All right. That's all we hear. We see Paul Heyman come in, Apollo Crews, the gentleman as ever. These two are in the room. Let me walk out. Roman Reigns said, "No, sit down. You can learn from something." All right.
Oh.
I've seen people say Apollo Crews to join the bloodline and all that. I don't really want to see that. But I don't mind this kind of sitting under the learning tree and the mentorship that Roman Reigns can give him, sort of thing. And 5 minutes on TV of Roman Reigns. Look how we're talking about him. Look at the rub that he got just from that. And then obviously he carried it into his match later on in the night. But very interesting. Apollo as a heel. I don't mind it.
Yeah. I think I have a little bit more faith with Apollo as a heel after what he was able to do last year when he had that whole thing with the Hurt Business and the United States Championship. He showed that he can be a little bit more versatile than we probably expected him to be able to be, and all that kind of thing. So it's gonna be very interesting. I've heard so many times, both with that interaction with Paul Heyman, and also I don't know if anyone has caught his interview with Lillian Garcia on Chasing Glory. He talked quite a bit about wanting to work on his promo stuff, wanting to show a bit more of that side of him, working on that a little bit more. So, it's good to see that he's getting a chance to do that. It's going to be interesting to see a heel Apollo. I don't know how that's going to interpret. I really don't. But I want to see it. I want to see him go for it.
I think he doesn't have to go complete heel bad guy doing kind of mad stuff, but as long as he's like the like cheeky kind of heel and very cocky and confident, everyone's gonna love Big E. So ultimately, anyone that faces Big E is gonna have to play the other side of the coin. But I don't know if you remember, a couple weeks ago I said I don't trust Paul Heyman firing up Big E, firing up Apollo Crews. Is he turning these guys to clash each other and stay away from Roman?
Exactly that. Like, I see it all day long.
Like to me.
And the joke is, as I'm watching what's going on with those two, I was remembering what you said about that. So after Heyman spoke to Apollo, then we're seeing the interaction between Apollo and Big E. The following week, I'm just like, okay. This is what's happening. But yeah, in terms of Apollo as a heel, the type of heel he should be, we're gonna see that progression. He's gonna battle with wanting to be a bad guy or wanting to have to do, bad things and maybe cheat here and there and all that kind of stuff. We've kind of seen that before as well. So I think that's gonna be the way it's gonna go. And I think it's just going to be the natural frustration of not being able to beat Big E. I mean, he did last week, but that was overturned and, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, man, I'm intrigued. It puts Apollo on our TVs a little bit more. It gives him, more time on our screens and to develop. So I'm here for it, bro. Whatever happens, I'm here for it. I'm just very intrigued to see where it goes. Very intrigued.
Arpit has just said in the chat, everything Roman touches turns to gold. One other thing that I did see, Shantice has said, I hope he's not just a mad black man heel. We know they love generating those.
Trust me.
I saw some people having a conversation over the weekend after SmackDown. Do you think that Apollo Crews is going to basically interrupt Big E's title run now? Maybe win it for a certain period before Big E wins it back, just to give him a bit of a chase with it?
I don't know. I wouldn't want it to happen like that.
Okay.
The only reason why I would want it to happen, but I don't see happening, the only reason I want to see it happen is for Apollo to win and then Big E goes for Roman. That is the only thing I would want to see. Yeah. Straight move on, not then chase for it. If that happens, that needs to come later on. So let Big E have a bit of a run. Then he may lose it to someone. Then he chases it, maybe wins it back, and after that, do whatever you want. But for him to lose it now, I think would be a little bit too early. But at the same time, I think Apollo's going to be around for quite a bit on the Big E skin. Definitely.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
Shantice, they need to rehab the IC title, and that won't do it. Yeah, I think a good, long, meaningful run. Sami Zayn had a pretty decent run, even though he was off TV for a bit. But they need a bit of a fighting champion. So, yeah, I agree with that.
Right, for sure. I mean, something I was asking, myself the question earlier today is, are there any real challenges for Roman Reigns on SmackDown right now?
There are, but I'm not convinced by who there is, apart from maybe Daniel Bryan, which I don't mind. A lot of people have said Daniel Bryan should win the Royal Rumble. I'm not a fan of him winning the Royal Rumble just because, even as we can see it, he's doing so much right now to put over other people. Unless he's going to use himself as, the golden boy, the baby face that everyone loves, he's going to get to his WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns completely annihilates him to become the top heel in the world, like more heel than flipping Donald Trump. Like, that is the level of heel that he should become if he batters Daniel Bryan. And that's the only reason that match should ever happen, in my opinion. Other than that, I don't really see real kind of, Drew McIntyre level challenge that these two could step into a fight and it's like, oh, hold on here. Who could actually win this match?
Right. And that's the thing, and that's the exact same name I was thinking of as well. Like, there is only Drew McIntyre. Like, there is no one else out there. Now, that's not to say that there aren't other people that are talented enough and can't be, but there's no one that's ready right now. I think Cesaro could easily be a very good one, but that needs to be built. Big E is another one, but that needs to be built. Even though he's IC champion at the moment, that needs to be built. I don't even know who else is even on SmackDown these days. But there's no one else that's like ready to come for Roman. So, we'll see what happens with this Kevin Owens thing, and that's going to play out eventually. And I don't think it's the biggest thing on the planet, but Kevin Owens has done well. Kevin Owens has done well with it. Can't deny him that at all. But you just don't go into the match or any match with Kevin Owens and Roman thinking, "Oh, Kevin Owens might win."
Yeah. That's the thing. We like, even when they announced it's a last man standing match this past week, I thought Kevin Owens is going to give us a terrific last man standing match.
Oh no, for sure.
Him, I think Moxley, for me, these are two of the biggest names for gimmick matches. Like, they just do it so well. But you don't ever think Roman Reigns is really going to be in trouble. But it'll be a great match.
It definitely will. Speaking of championship matches and the biggest heels in the world right now, we have over in Impact AEW this little thing that they're doing, this collaboration, and we have Kenny Omega made his in-ring debut for Impact as the AEW champion in a 6-man tag alongside his good brothers, Carl Anson and Luke Gallows, against Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, and a last-minute entry of Moose. Moose, oi, listen. Moose killed it on that night, bro.
He showed up.
Moose absolutely killed it on that night. So the question is, right now, we also know that Rich Swann handed Moose an opportunity at his Impact Championship as well. We know that eventually Kenny Omega is going to challenge for the same Impact Championship at some point. Are we going to see Rich Swann versus Kenny Omega or Moose versus Kenny Omega? And which one do you prefer to see? That is the big question right now.
As a wrestling match, I'd rather see Omega versus Rich Swann. But honestly, bro, I have no idea how this is gonna pan out, because he's already pinned Rich Swann in this particular match we're talking about, right? Hard to Kill the other night. Is he really gonna pin Rich Swann again? Is that I just feel like, I don't know, Impact, is that protecting him for him to be pinned clean twice? Unless, obviously, Omega cheats to win in this match. At the same time, I guess he could drop it to Moose, and then Moose takes the fall to Omega eventually. But at the same time, you want Moose to have a meaningful title reign. And I can't imagine that will be particularly long. So I literally have no idea how this is going to pan out, which could be a good thing.
It's an absolute crazy one, but I absolutely love it all at the same time. Because of course, Moose right now is the main heel in Impact. Really, you kind of got Sami Callihan doing his thing, but with Eddie Edwards. But I would say Moose is probably the main heel right now. So for them to do heel versus heel, usually that doesn't happen. Usually that does not happen, especially when it's for titles as well. Usually that does not happen.
Yeah.
So for that reason, it's kind of like, it feels unlikely. But at the same time, with the way that Moose has been pushed over the last few weeks, and for me, we know that the whole announcement of Alex Shelley not being able to travel for, family circumstances, or what was it again? Unavoidable circumstances. Let's quote it correct. I don't know. I'm not even too sure still whether that was kayfabe or shoot, bro, because I'm like, was that supposed to happen?
That's the thing.
Was that just a brilliant opportunity for them to jump on? Either way, it just worked. It just worked massively. And with the performance that Moose put on, I just feel as though they're pushing for Moose. They're pushing for Moose, and I'm behind it. Like
they have been for quite a while now. They've really been kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, I'm behind it all the way. I would actually prefer to see Moose versus Omega. As much as Swan is absolutely amazing what he does, athletically, him and Omega could put on, almost a New Japan style type match.
Yeah.
I really still want to see this brutal Moose, because he's been brutalizing everyone. Those elbows and all the rest of it, and he's showing up doing his moonsaults and all this other athletic stuff that a big man shouldn't be doing.
Yeah,
I think I would actually rather see Moose versus Omega, if I'm completely honest.
That Spanish fly that Moose done, I was like, bro, are you all right? Like, he really came to show off that he can, sit with these men, and it was brilliant. We've got Arpit in the chat with his chant, Moose, Moose, Moose. Josh Mitchell, thanks for joining us, bro, over on the Facebook. Swan versus Omega, and then I want to see Moxley versus Moose. And Josh Mitchell goes on to ask, do you see someone from Impact / AEW winning a title from the other promotion? So I guess this could be the Omega situation, or maybe someone else. What do you think?
So I've seen, actually, quite interestingly, what's his name again now? Lance Archer.
Yes.
I think it was a tweet. He tweeted something about coming to the Impact locker room. And then I've also seen Diana Purrazzo mention AEW.
I saw her. Yeah, I saw that.
So, and obviously, of course, we saw the Good Brothers. We've seen the Good Brothers 2 weeks in a row now, I think, on AEW. So that whole, interactions happening between not just Omega going to Impact, but everyone else kind of joining the fray and all that type of thing. So do I see anyone winning a championship from another promotion? Darby Allin's kind of still stuck with Team Taz.
He's occupied.
I don't necessarily see anyone from Impact necessarily doing anything there. The women's division, I mean, it would be very interesting to see Diana Purrazzo and a few others of the ladies on AEW, but then that'll still be like NWA, AEW, Impact.
They're just borrowing them.
It's like, huh?
Yeah.
And then there's talk of, because of go on.
Sorry, I was just gonna say Christian Camacho says Kenny should win the Impact World and X Division titles. And then him and Good Brothers would have all the gold.
That's way too much. I think
that's overdoing it.
Who knows? But I was gonna say how it was interesting because Omega also came out with a Bullet Club T-shirt.
Yes.
Hard to Kill. That has ignited a bit of a response from Tama Tonga as well, over in New Japan. I think he went on Twitch yesterday, or if not, he's doing it tonight to say some more words on that. So there's been rumors of that whole Impact, AEW, and New Japan all doing something together. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Who knows? 2021 is just crazy. 2020 was mad enough. 2021 just seems crazy, bro. So who knows? I'm we're gonna see some crazy matches, maybe some dream matches and all the rest of it. I'm just hoping it plays out correct. It could go Pete Tong and go wrong. But it could also then be one of the best things we've seen in wrestling for a very long time. True. All at the same time. That whole Kenny Omega connection, especially still with New Japan. He's not burnt bridges with them and stuff like that. So who knows, bro? Who knows?
Hopefully.
Yeah. I'd want to see. Here's a crazy match I'd want to see. Chris Bay for Scorpio Sky. They've done it before, way back in the day in LA. They've done that before, but Chris Bay versus Darby Allin. Let's go.
Yeah,
TNT Championship. Let's go. Okay, you know what?
That would be good.
Chris Bay wins the TNT Championship. Let's go. I'm here.
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it. The other thing that we want to talk about today is AEW again. We're staying here on the elite side of things. Is that brawl? So last week we were here talking about, how we saw Jade Cargill back in autumn and Brandy Rose got pregnant and we don't know what's going on with this and don't know what's going on with that. Why they're not done nothing for 3-4 weeks. And then all of a sudden, boom, Jade Cargill comes bursting through the door of Britt Baker's little show.
The waiting room.
I'm going to say this real quick. The waiting room. I'm going to say this real quick. Britt Baker, Bailey. They're the same person, bro. I think they're the same person.
To a certain extent, yeah.
Waiting room, the door, the role models. Come on. It's all too much. But anyway, I digress. So we saw Jade Cargill kind of confront Cody Rhodes once again. Cody Rhodes was a special guest on the waiting room. And then Red Velvet came to confront Jade Cargill. It was a very interesting standoff. We know Jade is very tall. We also know Red Velvet is cute and petite. The standoff between them, bro, was crazy. But those slaps,
mate.
Nah. I don't want to get involved with none of those ladies, bro. Woo! Wow. And then it all kicked off with a massive brawl with the 15 women that I mentioned last week.
All involved.
Literally 15 women. So that was interesting, bro. How have you seen that one? Do you think it helps the story? Do you think what's going to come from it? Where is this going?
Well, clearly we knew we had WWE writers watching this show, but we got AEW writers watching as well, because you did say last week that Red Velvet was going to be the proxy for Brandy, and lo and behold, that has happened. The segment I thought was very, very entertaining. Britt Baker is money. I don't care what anybody says. She will be the best athletically in the ring, but she is absolutely brilliant. I don't know how many other people noticed. She actually didn't let Cody say one word in that segment, her or Jade Cargill. I guess they done that on purpose, but it was brilliant. Jade comes in, and literally once she walks in her attire, her stature, I said it to you, I don't see nothing else but China. I don't see nothing but a chocolate China.
Right.
That is
Black China.
Literally, just mold her into this destructive force that, like I said, sticks it on women all the time, beats up the women, is at the top of the women's division, can mingle with the men, and once she gets her confidence and her in-ring up a bit,
Very
put her in a couple maybe just segments like this one, where maybe not matches, but she can intimidate the men and stuff like that. There is just so much upside for her. We are all still waiting to see her in the ring. And then obviously, like you said, Red Velvet comes in and really came with the fire. Didn't care how much bigger Jade was than her. Delivered the first blow. Jade retaliated. Red Velvet jumped on her. The scrap began. So I think that's that. Is that match this week we're gonna see?
I think so. I don't even know. I don't even know.
I'm not sure if I'm not sure if they actually announced the match. I think I'm thinking of the Britt Baker match that they announced at the end of the segment. But those two. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Because obviously Red Velvet, not that she's been wrestling for a bit now, but obviously Jade is new, kind of. So, what do you think as a pairing? Is that a first match for Jade, or do you think it may not work just because of experience?
I almost think it needs to be. I mean, I've got a feeling they may do, and I've done this so many times already. When someone's about to have a big match, they have a match on Dark the night before. or we see a match on Dark the night before.
Yeah.
They did it with Ray Phoenix before he went against Omega, and I've done it with Ricky Starks before he went against they've done it so many times. So I believe that's a possibility, a very strong possibility that we'll see Jade kind of just destroy, maybe for a week, maybe possibly 2-3 weeks, some competition on Dark before facing Red Velvet. And it's not necessarily because Red Velvet is one of the bigger stars, because we know she's not, and she's up and coming as much as we know that she's been wrestling, and she's very, very good. I think it's still kind of just so we get to see Jade, almost to build, kind of very similar to how we've seen Will Hobbs.
Give her a couple squashes.
A couple squashes. Get to see the power, get to build that a little bit, and then they face each other. I don't know how far away any special event or pay-per-view is the next one, but
2nd of February, I think they're doing the Beach Bash or something like that.
That's correct. Yes. So possibly that would be a decent time frame to make that happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to see the match. I definitely want to see the match, regardless of how they, what they do beforehand. I think that match is going to be a good one. It's going to a lot of intensity, regardless. So I'm hoping that it all works out for Jade. Yes, we're still a little bit tentative because we haven't seen her in the ring yet, and she's never, done, I guess, enough in a public eye for us to have a real idea of what she can and can't do. So who knows?
Christian Camacho had just said here in the chat, I never realized how tall Jade was until now. So Jade is what, 5'10", and then she wears these massive Louboutin heels, and
Right.
she's even towering over Cody Rhodes.
Right.
Thought,
Former basketball player as well. Don't forget that as well.
Of course,
So,
yeah.
got that length there as well. And I'm sure Red Velvet is only 5'2". I'm sure Red Velvet is only 5'2", something like that. So yeah, that was evident, very evident. But I'm sure we both would be looking up at Jade.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, mate, she's just different. She's just different. Just different class. Completely different class. But it's going to be very interesting to see how that one works out, and where it goes. Do you, in any way, do you see this helping the women's division? Do you think it's enough to help the whole notoriety of the AEW women's division at the moment? Because if I'm honest, not just simply because they are black women, but I am much more heavily invested in what happens with these two than I am with the AEW Women's Championship right now.
But that's the problem. So the answer to your question is no, because it doesn't actually help the division. They are trying to conjure up really good stories, and that's which is good. Obviously, Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, just had her little program with Abaddon come to an end. Whether they reignited that or not, I don't know. Shida wasn't even on the show last week, wasn't mentioned at all last week, which is a shame because the week before she just retained her championship. So it's really up and down. They are trying to do some good things. Obviously, we still have the big name of Shaq involved in this grand scheme of this storyline, which could or could not, may not kind of add some gravitas to the division, to this particular feud. But it's just really inconsistent right now. Despite you can see they're trying, it's just inconsistent, especially with the championship, which is meant to be the cornerstone of the division. So
right. And it's nice that they're building other things kind of outside of the championship picture, because we're seeing Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker having a feud at the moment. We're seeing NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb kind of every now and again defending her championship and stuff like that. So I think in a way it's a good thing because they're building someone to then challenge Shida, which makes complete sense and is very much needed. But unfortunately, it just means that Shida at the moment is, still this Abaddon thing, and then who else is there after that? And Nyla Rose has been, or Vicky Guerrero has been chatting, but Nyla Rose hasn't really done anything to really put her foot in the picture, or they've not really pushed it. Put it that way. So, yeah, it's not going to build the division itself, but hopefully, in time, it builds someone to then take on Shida, and hopefully that will help.
That's it. Christian's just said here again, someone needs to take the title off Shida. Her reign has become very boring. Maybe Anna Jay or Chris Statlander could take it off her. So Chris Statlander, I guess, is going to come back from injury soon. And you know what? Maybe, I think well, not that they knew the pandemic was coming, but maybe they've left it on Shida during the pandemic because Shida was one of the names that was around. She didn't fly back home or anything like that. She stayed around. She stayed competitive, stayed active, which I'm sure they appreciate. But maybe now, as things are improving, it might just take a title change to a more interesting character. The minute they put that belt on Britt Baker, the division, I'm sure, is gonna be set alight.
It's done.
And this is it. It's a bit unfair on Shida. Some might say that Britt will get more opportunity on the mic and things like that, but that's what maybe it is. Maybe it is just a character kind of thing rather than anything else.
I believe so, and and unfortunately, that is just the nature of the US version of wrestling. At the end of the day, it's more about characters than it is about necessarily technical ability and all that type of thing. Shida in Japan would be phenomenal, whereas Shida here is she's great, but she's missing something that we're used to. So Britt Baker's got that in abundance. So I think it really is just a test of time to have it on Britt Baker. So we'll see what happens with that. Now moving on, we have about 20 minutes to go. So let us get into our stars of the week. Yeah, I'm gonna let you go first because I don't know. I mean, there are a few names I've got, but I don't know.
Okay, so we spoke about Impact. We did not speak about the Knockout Championship. However, but
I'll sack myself. Why don't I? I'll sack myself if I'm honest. Because
I don't mind because I told myself if he forgets, these are my stars of the week. Tasha Steelz, Kiera Hogan picking up the Knockout Championships. I'm sure you can tell us a bit more in a second about the Knockout Championships. I know they kind of brought these titles back, but they put on a really good match. And for me, when they had won, like you guys know me, I'm not completely into Impact, but I've been watching here and there. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. So
right.
I watched this match. I watched this match, and I really felt like a proud dad watching his two daughters. I just couldn't. I was so proud. Like even now, I'm getting back that feeling of how I felt. Like I just oh my god, like you go girls, and especially the promo that they cut afterwards, like how intense they were, how much it meant to them. They even had a dig at the AEW women's division at Tony Khan about this is how you actually crown champions, not just give them a medal and stuff like that. They sold it for me. Tasha Steelz stole it on that promo. The match itself was really good. Diamante was backstage to celebrate with Kiera Hogan, who is her partner. It was just brilliant, and for the promo alone, I would have given them stars of the week, but obviously they walked out as Knockout Tag Champions, so very happy for them.
Yeah, man. It was phenomenal. Shantice has said the only Hogan we care about. Come on,
that's
it's the only
right.
Hogan. You know this.
That's
you know
right.
this. Red X is for Terry. So, that was a massive win. Definitely for me. I saw it coming, and I'm glad it happened because when they first put Kiera and Tasha together, when Tasha first came to Impact, not that long ago at all, I think it was September maybe. And I've known of Tasha already from what she's doing on the indies and stuff. So when she came and she's come with that whole braggadocious, that whole thing.
Her. I'll tell you now, and I hope my missus can't hear me. I love that.
She's absolutely amazing, bro.
Yeah.
So when they've put them two together, it just worked straight away. I mean, I know they are friends in real life as well, so pairing them two was just great. And you know, they took out a few of those the women straight away, winning matches every week. So even from that alone, I was like, right, they're building for a tag team division with the women right now in Impact. Yeah. So as soon as they announced the knockout tag team championships coming back, for me, it had to be those two. Had to be those two to win. And I love the way it's happened. I love that they brought Jazz back into the fray to kind of, you know, stir things up a little bit, kind of, you know, keep us wondering who's actually going to win this whole thing. Yeah. But yeah, to see them to do it the way they are, now going by the name of Fire and Flavor. It's you know, as you said, bro, you know, it's like a proud dad moment, to be fair. Very, very much so. Yeah, they're gonna be phenomenal. They're gonna be phenomenal. Tasha Steelz is just ridiculous talent. Kiera Hogan, it's kind of like, you know, about time she's now got some gold or whatever the metal is on those championships. You know, in Impact, because, you know, she's been serving quite a while. I think she's been there at least, I think 3 years. I think it's about 3 years, if not a little bit longer. And she's always been, you know, there. She's always been up there in that division, always kind of around the top end of that division. So it's crazy. And as you said, they made a little bit of a dig at AEW. I'm sure Kiera Hogan and Diamante have had conversations at home about how, you know, Diamante and Ivelisse have won this tournament, but then nothing's happened.
Literally.
They've got a medal.
Participation thing.
They've got a medal. Bro, they've got a coin on some string.
Literally. When Tasha Steelz dropped that, she's like, "Oh, this is how you crown champions, not a participation medal." I said, "Yo, go and turn up on AEW and challenge them or something like
that." Would be fire. Diamante and Ivelisse versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, bro. Yeah, here for it.
Run it.
Let's do it right now. So yeah, shout out to them, those two for sure. For me, we're keeping it tag team. We had some, you know, some deliberation, some rumors and talk on, I think it was on Wednesday. It was on Wednesday, about midday. They announced the brackets for the NXT Dusty Rhodes Classic, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. 16 teams added. And we saw this one team called, what is it again? MSK? MSK, but there was no pictures. So we were all like, who's MSK? Big, you know, the whole hashtag was there. Who is MSK? Straight away, I just knew it had to be.
It had to be.
Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, formerly known as the Rascals, who signed with NXT. I think it was early December, late November, or that's when it was announced at least that they had signed. They came out, now known as Nash Carter, Zachary Wentz, and Wes Lee.
Which has to be the worst name in wrestling ever. Right now, you're making Retribution and T-Bar look pretty good.
I didn't say that. Don't hate me. Don't hate me.
Where's Lee? You know when they said it, the first time they said it, I thought his name must be Wesley, but they've for some reason put a pause in between. Only when I'm reading stuff back, I'm seeing Wes space Lee. that is from the school of Slapjack. I'm sorry.
I wonder. I mean, I wonder who came up with the name. I mean, it's crazy, but I can get with it. I know how it can sound like what the heck, but I can get with it, man. I think it works with the craziness of their characters as well.
Correct.
It definitely works the craziness of their characters. It's yet to be seen whether it will be, you know, very similar to what they were doing in Impact. as I guess weed smoking and fun loving guys. Whether they bring that over to WWE is very doubtful, but I think there'll be a bit of an undertone of that if they don't kind of throw it in our faces for sure. Because NXT is just a little bit more, edgy, as they say. Shout out to them too, because they came in, went against Isaiah Swerve Scott and what's his name again? Jake Atlas, that's the one, crazy guy, and had a phenomenal match. The way I actually knew or first saw Desmond Xavier was when he, Swerve, and Leo Rush, when Swerve was Shane Strickland, and Leo Rush were always together. So we're always in 6-man tag matches and stuff like that. Yeah. And seeing the stuff that those three would do, it was just absolute madness, bro. So, it's kind of like a bit of a almost like a full circle type thing with Xavier and Swerve. And, MSK came out on top, won their first match. The debut match had everyone talking, afterwards as well. So massive shout out to them too. Glad to see them in WWE. Nash Carter had an interview backstage and was very emotional about finally being in WWE, where he wanted to be for so long, and talking about how he and his dad used to watch WWE back in the day. His dad passed away when he was still young, so his whole wrestling career, he said, is basically a dedication to his dad. So for him to be where he's at, as his dad's watching him, so massive props to both guys, man. Everyone's done the whole talk of why are they in WWE? WWE's gonna mess them up and blah blah blah. But I know for a fact for both of them, it's where they've always wanted to be.
Yeah.
However it works out for them is however it works out for them. But I know most guys, I mean, come on, you're not gonna agree to something if you don't want to do it.
Of course.
So if you're in NXT, if you're in WWE, it's where you want to be.
And if we're being honest, most guys in AEW have grown up wanting to be in WWE anyway. So, there's just another option right now, which is thriving, and long live the competition and all that. But you can't take people away from their childhood dream. That leaves me to ask you one question.
Let's go.
Obviously, MSK have shown up now. No Trey Miguel. So is Trey Miguel a singles act, maybe going straight to the main roster, or singles act in NXT, or is he actually going somewhere else? What do you think?
So for me, it remains to be seen. It could be very hush-hush, but I don't think he's signed with WWE NXT yet. I'm sure he's been offered. I know, I'm sure he has been offered. I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
AEW, I'm sure, will come knocking as well. Trey Miguel is absolutely phenomenal in-ring competitor. It's very difficult to work out where is actually best for him.
That was my next question.
So most people straight away say AEW. Yeah. Because they're almost allowed to put on matches that we'll love and get excited about, which is great. But at the same time, what do they do with Trey Miguel?
That is it.
Because it's great that someone as great as Trey Miguel, someone as good as Trey Miguel can be, can go to AEW and have great matches. But when you've got the likes of Phoenix, Penta, Pac, even Scorpio Sky, Ricky Starks, all doing nothing.
Yeah,
they're in great matches, which is good, which is brilliant. It's great that they get to do that. But I'm just like, okay, why is Phoenix just there?
Nothing to sink their teeth into.
Yeah, Pac, okay, obviously he couldn't travel because of COVID and whatnot. He's only just come back. Fair enough. But there's so many, there's nothing in AEW for me to tell me that if Trey Miguel goes there, it's going to be the best decision he could have made.
Yeah.
I think it's still just as possible for him to go to NXT and have, either a great or not so great run in that company as well. So I can't even answer the question, where's the best place for him to go? The only person that can answer that is really himself. So I'm intrigued to see what he does. I don't think I actually expect him to I don't think I expect to see him in NXT. I think if that was happening, it would have happened. It would have been all three of them together.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? I think if he was to go to NXT, they'd almost have to push him either with MSK or above MSK.
Yeah.
I don't know which one they would do.
For me, wherever he ends up, I just think he should very much look at Ricochet as a template and know that his moves, his in-ring ability is not going to get him to that upper echelon in wherever he ends up. He has got to kind of push with the character stuff, which will become harder now, especially because, it looks like he's out on his own. But yeah, I think Ricochet is a perfect template for him to look at and just think, I need something else.
For sure. I mean, even with that said, obviously there was rumors of Ricochet, possibly leaving. There's rumors of that he's actually signed a new contract. We don't know what's going on. But one of the questions was, of course, every time we hear anybody contracting WWE ending, anyone that's decent, straight away everyone's like, go to AEW.
Yeah.
Again, would he really be pushed the way that we would want him to be pushed in AEW? Right now, again, for the same reasons of Phoenix, Penta, whoever, I don't think it's this whole grass is greener on the other side thing. It just doesn't work for me. It's not real.
No, you've got a fair point. You've got a fair point. I do think that when AEW do launch their second show, whenever that is coming, it was rumored to come sometime early this year. That can help possibly to get a lot more of these guys you're mentioning on the card where they should be, not just in tag team matches and stuff like that. Leave the tag team matches for the tag teams, not put in single stars in them. But yeah, I think maybe that's what it is. The 2 hours that they have for all the guys that they have is just not enough right now, and they don't want to waste telling stories on Dark, especially if they're not going to translate to TV. So it is maybe just waiting for this second show and then seeing what else they can do. But you're right, it's not this magic land that it's better than WWE, everyone go to AEW. Like it hasn't translated for that, not for everybody 100%.
Not at all. And it's, as you said earlier in the show, it's great that the competition's there. It's great that there's somewhere else for people to go that can bring you the same type of money contracts and stuff like that, even level of matches and whatnot. But they're still learning. And at the end of the day, they're still learning, which is not bad. Which is what happens. It's only been a year. They need time to learn. So it's not the be-all. It's not the answer to everyone's WWE questions. It's just another place to go, and it's still a bit of Russian roulette to see what happens with your career, really. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, with all of that said, let's leave it up in the air to see what happens with Trey Miguel, to see what happens with MSK. I would ask the question, but we've got a minute left. Are they winning Dusty Cup? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. We'll leave it there. Say nothing more. We'll leave it there. Folks, it has been another great show. We are actually less than an hour. Yes, in the good books of the radio manager today. Yes. You have been watching us on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel. You can obviously follow us on Instagram, the best place in social media world. Instagram, WrestleMania.uk. I'm sure you're already following me, Black Wrestling Alliance. You can also follow this guy on Twitter, WrestleMania UK. You'll see me pop in once a month. And doing some landlord checks. You can also listen to us on affinityextra.com on a Thursday. I won't even tell you the times because I can't even remember, because that's just the way it goes. This 5-hour difference thing just hurts my head. But you can also check out the Affinity Extra app as well on both iPhone and Android. So check that out, Affinity Extra. Folks, this is it. We're done. Thanks for being with us. All those in the chat, Cushion Camacho, Shantice, Armpit, everyone else. Thank you. We're gone. Done.
Take care, guys.